And to acknowledge the fact that you are unlikely to be promoting on Facebook and Instagram in isolation. You will have your organic content coming in through SEO, and you might actually be running paid campaigns on things like LinkedIn and Google and YouTube and live events and your email marketing and everything else. So it's really important to note that Facebook can actually do wonders for your business in collaboration with all of these other marketing efforts. For example, let's say you're in a B2B space. You will likely have better results on LinkedIn if you're looking to target people specifically off of job titles or industries in particular. Because let's face it, people don't really update this stuff on Facebook, or they just completely make it up sometimes. So you might be wasting marketing dollars doing this on Facebook because stuff is likely out of date or totally made up. But there's nothing to say that you can't still retarget this audience through Facebook as long as your Facebook pixel and your LinkedIn tracking are both installed on the pages that you're driving traffic to from LinkedIn primarily. Or maybe your focus is less on bringing in new business because you know that networking or in-person events work really well for you, but you want to work on securing repeat business. Well, why not just upload your existing customer database into Facebook and create a custom audience? This can be super powerful for those of you who are running ads for businesses with ongoing payment models. So once a month, you could just run a quick campaign promoting your latest awesome video or blog post to your existing customers. And that's going to really help to keep you front of mind for them, and is also going to make them a lot less likely to stop their ongoing payment because of that sort of familiarity effect. Especially on Facebook, where you're probably sandwiched somewhere between the photo of your dad learning how to ride a scooter and your second cousin's third baby. It just makes it feel like you're a friend or a family member who's just kind of showing them useful stuff through their Facebook feed. So those are just some examples of how you can integrate Facebook into your other efforts. But what if maybe Facebook and Instagram are actually your platforms of choice for the very first introduction someone has to your business, like we've been talking about throughout this whole class, but maybe you're looking to make them even more effective with your other paid and organic efforts. But maybe your offer is actually quite complex and it requires a lot of trust building in order for somebody to actually convert into a customer. So you want to make sure that you're getting your brand in front of people who are wanting to learn more about you. So you could supplement your Facebook ad strategy with a simple Google search campaign for just a couple of keywords that you know that your target market might Google after seeing stuff from you on Facebook and Instagram. Now, this is not a class about Google Ads, so I'm not going to go into a lot of depth here about this, but I did just want to jump into my Google Ads account here to demonstrate how you might be able to do something like this for your business, because I do know that a lot of Facebook ads marketers avoid Google Ads like the plague sometimes. And don't get me wrong, it really can be a very complex world, but for what we're talking about here, this can be a relatively easy setup. So for example, I'm going to just go ahead and create a new campaign here. And at this stage, my primary objective is website traffic. I'm just looking to target them with Google search ads. And I'm just going to run this straight to my main page for now because we're just demonstrating. But obviously this would go to a page that would tell people a little bit more about this program that they're Googling and trying to find out a little bit more about. Right, so I don't want to be using the display network. I'm only really going to be going for the search network. And let's say I'm just doing this for Australia for now because my audience is geographically specific. My budget is going to be $5 a day. And I could focus on conversions, or I could just focus on clicks, because really I'm only going to be putting this in front of people who are specifically searching for my targeted keywords. So they've heard about me somewhere else and they just want to know more. So in that case, I could actually optimize for clicks because my goal here is just to drive my target audience to this landing page. And I could go into a little bit more depth about site link extensions and call out extensions, which will basically just give me a little bit more real estate inside of search results, but not necessary. You could set up a really, really simple search ad. And of course, you want to make sure that you are labeling everything correctly. But for now, I'm not worrying about that. And do keep in mind that Google is going to try and get you to up your budget or be a little bit more targeted with this, because ultimately a lot of people are using Google Ads to really target high traffic keywords. But in our case, we're really only using this for our retargeting campaigns or people who are searching for very, very specific and targeted keywords. So I wouldn't be doing it for anything to do with marketing. Let's say my offer is something called Maggie's Extravaganza Palooza. I don't know what that would be, but basically what I'm trying to say is hopefully whatever your offer is, it's something that's targeted specifically to you. So it's not as broad as, digital marketing for beginners as a course, but it's something that you have coined as a term so you can really get specific with the keywords you're putting in here. This is a really bad example because I can pretty much guarantee that if that was the name of my program, everyone would misspell it and this would be a terrible campaign. But let's just say that's kind of what I'm going for here. And, I would also maybe target people just searching for me and target people searching for my brand. And that's probably enough. Now, I don't want to get too into what broad match, phrase match, and exact match keywords mean here, which would basically get a little bit more targeted with stuff. But again, the key here is not to get you to become a Google Ads master. It's mainly just to sort of show you what's possible and how easy this can be to set up for just a couple of keywords if they're really targeted. And so at this stage, Google is telling me there's going to be no traffic because this is a made up thing and no one's really searching for it. So I'm going to show you, I did this as an example with another campaign just for my name so I can actually show you what this will look like. But this is how I would go and set that up, and I would just go ahead and create my ad. And it's already kind of got random things in here, probably something from random ads that I've run with this account in the past. It's giving me suggestions, and we're not going to be doing anything to do with dog walking. And this is why you shorten the name of your program so that stuff like this doesn't happen, because you've only got 30 characters to use for your headline. And I could just pin that to be my very first headline that's always going to be showing. And it's going to continue to populate this preview. And I could say something like, still got questions. And just keep in mind, it's not always going to show 3 headlines, or, sometimes it'll only show 1 or 2, but it's good for you to just keep a few different variations in here so that Google can sort of play around with it and test out a few different variations. If you do have one that you always want to be in first place, then you just pin it and it'll always show up here. And then any other ones it'll test out in second and third place. So this is, again, just super, super quick examples of what you could do. These are not the descriptions about what I want to do. If you ever get stuck on what to put into something like this, you can go into viewing their ideas. Anyways, at this stage, we're just going to say, are you looking to join Maggie's Extravaganza Palooza? Oh my gosh, I honestly don't even know what that would be as a program, but I love the sound of it. It sounds super fun. Find out more. There. Click through now. Anyways, you don't have to go all the way to 90 characters. You just can't go past it. And that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And again, I could add a few different descriptions, maybe add a display URL that's going to really tell people where they're going to be going through, which can really help to increase your click-through rate. So let's say your Finder URL has a really ugly slug, it's something, not so pretty. Here's your chance to, put in, I honestly think this is longer than 15 characters, so it's probably not going to fit. Anyways, but let's say I'm just going to put in the first bit of it. And so when people are searching for it, if the keyword they're searching for is also in the URL, it usually helps with your click-through rate. So that's something to consider, but super, super simple. And I would just save and continue. Anyways, I'm not actually going to be using this or setting this live. I'm going to be jumping into an ad that I've already created for the keywords of my name and my business name, so I can show you how that's going to appear on Google. But I wanted to really first just show you how I set that up. So I set it up exactly the same way as we've just done that there. And this particular ad just looks like this. Basically, it just says, looking for Maggie Star, chat to Maggie here, want to know if working with Maggie is the right thing for you, find out here, today is the day. And the only keywords I did that for was Maggie Star and living to Rome. So let's have a look at how that appears on Google. So all I'm using is my name as the keyword that I'm putting into Google. And because I'm in the geographic location that I've set for this ad, which is Australia, it's popping up with my ad that Google has approved. And it's honestly, it really is this simple. It takes a couple minutes to set up. It's not super complicated, but also you really don't pay much for these clicks because I'm optimizing for clicks and I'm doing it for a keyword for which there is no competition. So that means that sometimes you're getting clicks for like 20, 30 cents, which is insane. So it's a really, really cheap way for you to kind of have like a brand protection campaign so that if your people are heading straight to Google after they see your stuff on other platforms, you can make sure that they're seeing what you want them to see right when they're potentially in that decision-making process of should they work with you, should they buy from you, and this is your chance to say, heck yes, you should, and here's all of your questions answered. And do keep in mind that you absolutely do not have to be an expert on advertising on every platform, and you can outsource the actual implementation side of your strategy. But I just really encourage you to sort of think outside the box a bit of where else your audience is hanging out before they see your stuff on Facebook and Instagram, or maybe where they're hanging out after they see your stuff on Facebook and Instagram, to really help to just improve your Facebook ad conversion rates as well as your overall sales goals even more.